Welcome to Rainbow Soul Vodcast, where our Soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and LeKross's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at RainbowSoul.show.
Welcome to Rainbow Soul Soulstrology forecast for April 22nd to April 28th. And I am Hollis Taylor. I'm one of your astrologers here today. And, I do natal charts and synastry, and if you don't know what those are, but you'd like somebody to look at your astrology, which is your map to your life. I don't know, if I was driving across the country, I'd probably look at the map more than once. So you might want to look at your map more than once, and if you would like an astrology reading, let me know. You can book that privately with me at my website, which is listed in the description.
Hi there, I'm Bright Hawk. Great to be back, and gotta say Hollis is a fantastic astrologer. Has helped me a great deal in understanding my chart and therefore myself. And I think astrology is just such a great gift to give yourself in terms of understanding yourself. Make it easier on you. Find out what your strengths and challenges are from the stars' perspective, and it really makes a big difference. So anyway, I'm sorry, introduction of myself. I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm a musician, storyteller, entrepreneur, and you can learn more about me or order my books or music at brighthawkproductions.com.
Hi, I'm LeKross Ortiz. I am an avid student here because I'm trying to learn astrology as much as I can. I am the author of Fool's Journey Color Journal. Link will be in the description. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
Yeah, it does exist.
It takes me a minute to remember that.
I try to do Insta, and I don't have as much response as I do like Facebook and even TikTok.
Yeah. TikTok is pretty well. That's the latest thing. So. But.
Yeah. All right. Well, so today I want to invite everyone to take a moment to ground and center before we get started. Take this moment to just kind of close your eyes, sit still, put your feet on the floor, put your bottom in the seat, feel the back in your chair. Close your eyes if you can. Take some deep breaths. And each time you blow out, just blow away any tension or stress that you've been experiencing. As you relax into the music, allow your muscles to relax from head to toe. Imagine yourself walking along a path outside on a beautiful sunny day in spring. Flowers growing, you can really feel the sense of spring really settling in at this time. It's pretty solid spring right now, and the sun is strong and pushing its rays down on you. You can feel the warmth of the sun and the softness of those rays on this beautiful spring day. It's very comfortably warm. And you even notice that your feet are able to be bare in the grass, and you're safe with bare feet on the ground. You can feel the earth beneath you awakened and growing. The grass and the plants around you are growing. You can feel the trees around you have shed their little flowers and have began to push leaves out the ends of them. You are sure that spring is here now. And in that moment, as you put your face up towards the sky, close your eyes because of the bright sun rays, you envision Taurus. The sun is in Taurus. And a bull's head, the symbology of Taurus, shows itself to you in front of you in this moment through the sun rays. And as you feel spring on your skin, you can see the bull's head in front of you. Feeling the strength in the bull and all of the wonderful things that come with the constellation of Taurus. Feeling Taurus rain down on you luxuries, money, and the items that you need. Having all that you need and a little bit more. Having luxuries, feeling luxurious in this moment. You can relax in the grass on a beautiful, soft, cushy outdoor chair. And feel a soft breeze with not too much heat, just the perfect temperature. Feeling all the luxuries, having a perfect little drink beside you, and the tasty goodness of a beautiful little treat. And having the magic of luxuries and delicious food, having all your needs met. And as a result, being able to remain consistent and strong on your path, going forward, always moving forward, slow and steady. Keeping the same path as much as possible. Staying on the path. Fixed in spring. And as spring unfolds before you in your beautiful, luxurious chair, you recognize that these traits of Taurus are what create loyalty, consistency, and having all of your needs met and a little bit more is really a way to make life just a little bit better. this Taurus dream, you can give gratitude for that gift of having all your needs met. And relax into your body and start coming back to your here and now. Your feet on the floor, your seat in the bottom, your bottom in the seat, your back on the chair. Stretch your fingers and your hands and carry that goodness and that gratitude for having all your needs met, and maybe just a little bit more. Back into the here and now. And open your eyes, take a deep breath, and hold on to that beautiful gift. Well done, Bright Hawk. Well done.
Well, thank you very much. Likewise,
Beautiful.
That was a beautiful journey to Taurus.
Hey, I think this is a great way to teach astrology, right? Kind of gives you the vibe, gives you a moment to just kind of
It does.
buckle down into it. I think so. It teaches me too, because it makes me kind of like put all the things that I know in one place. You know, we all if you don't have, I don't have a lot of Taurus in my chart. Actually, it's actually the opposite of Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio rising, so when you're trying to learn parts of, if you're trying to expand your astrology knowledge, and it's not really something that you deal with on a regular basis, it takes a little bit of, I think it takes longer actually. So once you learn your chart, then you're like, woohoo, I learned my chart. And then if you try to learn other things about people, you're like, okay. And so it just takes a little while, but I do sometimes you know, because I'm a Scorpio rising, I end up attracting. So this is what you'll learn. Whatever your rising sign is, you'll attract the opposite sign to you. Okay, so if you're Virgo rising, you'll tend to attract, Pisces will be naturally attracted. I'm not saying that you will always like those people, okay? Because they are your opposites. So you may not. It probably would depend on the planets in that area, but that will be who's attracted to you just naturally. Okay, not just attracted like in a romantic way, but I just mean like attracted, like they want to spend time with you, they want to be your friend, they want to talk to you. And so in my experience with Taurus, I've spent a lot of time with my Libra moon listening to them and being like, oh, so change is actually kind of scary for you, which is the opposite of what I have, which is like, woohoo, we're changing. What's next? Yeah, I'm excited. I get excited about change. And Taurus is like, they have a lot of fears and stuff. So, yeah. So, it's not bad or good. It's just, you know, just understanding the other side. So this is a great way to kind of understand your opposite, by the way. And if you have an opposition in your chart, which I definitely have a couple of those, that's when they're in the opposite signs. It's a red line that goes directly across, and it's usually symbolized by like two little red dots with a line in it. It's like a real symbol. It has two little red dots with a red line in the middle of it. It's usually red. It's called an opposition. When you have an opposition, it's in opposite signs. And so it can feel very much like being pulled in two separate directions. And you very much will flip-flop back and forth between those two places. Now, of course, your ascendant and descendant are always in opposition. Your north node and south node are always in opposition. Your MC and your IC are always in opposition. but there could also be planets that are directly across the sky from each other. And when you have an opposition, you should pay attention to that. The best way to manage those is to try to find a balance. Try not to flip back and forth too much, because it can kind of make you feel a little bipolar.
But boom.
Definitely. It could definitely make you feel a little on the bipolar side. Sometimes I feel like, are all bipolar people have some oppositions in their chart? And that's actually, it has been true so far. It has been true so far. Most people that identify with that diagnosis, bipolar, will, and if I look at their astrology chart, almost always they have several oppositions, and they're usually in relation to emotional mental health things like Pisces or the moon, which represents emotions. And I'm like, oh, you're flip-flopping back and forth. So try to find something in the middle. That's the best way to resolve an opposition. So they're harder to resolve, but it's possible. You can do it.
Well, and that's what makes me always think of the T-square. Because the T-square always ends up with that, the top of the triangle is sort of your moderator, your facilitator of the conversation that's in opposition. We have one of those this week, you'll see.
Okay, great. So we can talk about that. So let's share our, so we have a T-square this week.
Yeah.
Bright Hawks had a little bit
of a yod.
Okay.
Finger of God.
Okay, boy. So some faded energy this week too, huh?
So it's been great to hear from folks, and we continue to remind you that if things feel intense and like, wow, it just feels like every day is so full, it's because it's really intense right now. Eclipse season continues, and this week we'll have a Scorpio full moon, and that's sort of the brackets the end of eclipse season, but the energy of the eclipse, it just ripples out, continuously, especially depending on what it's lit up in your chart for sure. Some people found the lunar eclipse super challenging and the solar eclipse super sweet, or exactly the opposite. The lunar eclipse was super whatever I just said. The opposite. Here, all about oppositions, and we have one of the biggest conjunctions of the year. It's we've been talking about it all month. We're going to continue to see it play out for several more weeks, and you'll see in a minute.
All right. Yeah, and so if you were wondering about that opposition sign, see those lines going directly across there? That's because they're pointing to the moon down there at the bottom, okay? And that's the south node and the north node. That's the south node down there, and the north node's at the top, and they're opposite, but they're also pointing out that Mercury at the top there, which is kind of that purple symbol that kind of looks like the female symbol, except it has like a little half circle on top of it. It's purple. It's at 16 degrees. It's only 1 degree away from the north node there, and so it's at the top of the sky there in Aries. And then it's a direct opposition down to the moon, right? So this means like you may go back to some, like for me, I try not to say certain things, but I'm finding my mouth slipping through it because it's Mercury retrograde maybe, or I'm just misspeaking, going back and saying things that, or having to change what I said, or review what I said, or edit what I said. Okay, and so that's especially emotionally related, or in relations, because it's in Libra. So that's the opposition, okay? And so you can see Aries and Libra are opposites. Aries is very much about independence and going forward and go, and it doesn't, Aries take off without you. It's just going. You either go, you just go. Or Libra is sort of like, okay, is everybody ready? Do you all want to go together? Okay, when we get to the other side, okay, this is Libra. Okay, Libra is going to try to take everybody with them, and that's why
jacket. How about water? Do you have snacks?
And that's Libra.
Do you have comfortable walking shoes?
Right. So that's Libra, and that's opposite of Aries, because Aries is like, let's go, right? Okay, and so that's how that's why they're opposites. You see, so when you see an opposition like that, try to find out what the opposites are in your chart that you're working through, okay? That you're trying to find balance in. And right now, it seems like some of us are probably ready to go, but maybe our partners or our people that we want to work with or take along with us are not ready yet. And so maybe we are trying to get them ready, or maybe you're the one that you feel pushed, maybe because people with Aries energy are ready to go, right? Okay. So there could be some of that kind of energy going on, or, and then there's also like some healing independence energy asking to be revealed within you right now, which is still part of the eclipse. And I think it still has to do with that Uranus Jupiter conjunct.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with the sun in Taurus now, we're deep in spring season. Spring is here. It's happening. There's no more questioning about it unless you live in the mountains. But for most of us, spring is here, okay? Unless you live in Australia, then it's fall, okay? But it's mostly like it's happening now. We're in the middle of the season. We're not on the edge of the season. We're in the middle of the season, okay? And we will be for like the next month. Yeah, each one is like 30-ish days or something. The sun is in each sign for around 30 days-ish.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Taurus, so the sun has moved into Taurus, bringing us some more. I think when Taurus season arrives, it helps us feel like, okay, we are really in spring. This is really happening. We are going forward. There's no more of that questioning feeling by the time we get to April, May. So, and we're starting to feel like things are going ahead.
Mm-hmm.
How's the moon, Bright Hawk, other than it being in Libra there?
Yeah, it's a Libra gibbous moon, so you can see we're almost to the opposition, which will, of course, make the full moon. So the moon on Monday is in a tight conjunction with the South Node, and the South Node, we've been talking about the the nodes of the moon, also known as the luminaries, also known as the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. So the South Node is the dragon's tail. It's where all the stuff comes out, right? And it's with the moon in Libra. So when the moon is in Libra, of course, Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus rules both Libra and Taurus, which I find interesting. And so the interesting thing about this particular configuration is that the moon is also in a yod. The finger of God is pointing at the moon in the South Node, and the base of it is the Uranus Jupiter at 21, and the Mars, because Mars is at 23, and then Mars is still conjunct Neptune at 28. But at any rate, the yod, the finger of God, is Mars meeting Jupiter, Uranus, pointing at the moon in Libra. So a fated day, as in destined, as in some things might just happen that, wow, I didn't see that coming. That looks like it was really meant to be.
Do something for the Earth on that day.
Yeah, Earth Day, right? And so it's powerful moon, and then that energy culminates when the moon goes void of course on Monday evening, 6:24 Mountain Time, adjust for your time zone, and it's void until 10:20, and then it goes into Scorpio, and the full moon will be in Scorpio.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe you want to take off that night, take a little break or something while the void is, Monday night, okay? And then on Tuesday, it looks like, I was just looking at how Chiron and Venus are getting so much closer together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're just getting closer and closer together there. It makes me feel like you might find some healing maybe around, especially since there's that Uranus Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus, okay? And Venus, and so Uranus and Jupiter are kind of traveling along together, and Venus is over there in Aries. And it makes me think like, okay, well, Venus in Aries is very quick about money, and maybe there might be some like sudden urge to spend, or at least it might be addressing that with Chiron there. So you might be either acting out that sudden urge to spend, or you could also be healing that sudden urge to spend, depending on where you are on your journey. And hopefully you're healing it, and so that you think about a little bit more about how you're spending your money, and what you're spending your money on. Hopefully you're spending your money on something good for the earth. It's Earth Day. I can't help it. It's like the biggest holiday of the whole year for me. I just love the earth. And so, with Venus and Chiron there, Venus it does tend to rule money. It also rules relationships. But because Taurus is so strong, I'm going to lead more towards the money part of it, since that part of the sky is being lit up more than Libra with the South Node. It could, if you have strong Libra placements or Aries placements in regards to relationships, it might be your theme. Okay? Or it could also be Taurus, or maybe it's both. Maybe you have a partner that overspends or something like that, or has a shopping habit, and they came home with another pair of pants, or 5 more pairs of pants or something. Okay? And so that's Venus in Aries. It just makes me think like compulsive spending. But with Chiron there, hopefully it's a healing. It will give you the opportunity to heal that.
Yeah, transform that habit, because the sun has been squaring Pluto for weeks, and let's transform. It's eclipse season. It's powerful. You have this opportunity in a good way, because you also have a sextile. That Neptune-Mars conjunct has been sextiling that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction the last several weeks, right? So those are powerful energies. The Jupiter-Uranus at 22 Taurus, that's got all the astrologers talking. Everyone is talking about this being the event of the year. Like, April is the biggest month of the astrological year for 2024. So I hope it's been good for you. I know some people have been, oh my goodness, life, like trying to drink water out of a fire hose, and other people are, regroup, transform, reorganize. What now? We're still in the Mercury retrograde, so reviewing, re-editing, redoing, reorganizing, anything with that re word in the front is perfect timing right now, as we sort of regroup. It's literally like, okay, and there's this energy about going forward. And I mentioned we have a T-square this week, so we have obviously when we have a full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite sides of the sky, and that's what makes a full moon. So there's the opposition, and then the Pluto over on the is square to the moon and the sun,
right?
And so Pluto is facilitating the conversation between the sun and moon.
Yeah, so it makes me think again about that change versus not change, because it's the moon's in Scorpio, and Scorpio is like transform. It's a fixed sign, but Scorpio will sometimes stay fixed, but when it's time to change, Scorpio will usually be excited about the change, where Taurus is a little bit more like has a lot of fears and tends to be one of the last ones to change. Okay. And so there's that opposition going on that we talked about in the beginning, but the squares, they're both squaring Pluto over here on the right in Aquarius. And so Pluto is actually saying, no, it's time to change. You got to do something different, especially since it's in Aquarius. Aquarius is very much about the collective and very much about like, you have to change this. And I feel like this is just a have to. If you want a better life, if you want to improve your day-to-day life, and I was just talking about this, is that, sometimes in our situations in life, we get boxed in. We like, so many things are not right or wrong or off or whatever. And it's sort of like, Brayhawk, what you talk about, spinning plates, and if one plate falls, all the rest are going to fall. And that's frustrating place to be, when you're kind of boxed in, when your life is boxed in like that, where if one thing goes wrong, all the other things are going to go wrong. And when you're in a situation like that, you have to change. And Spirit is demanding that you find something to change. And, if that feels overwhelming to you, what I would say is to make a list. Okay, if I change this is the good things and the challenging things. If I make a change if I choose this change, and try to choose the best change, the one with the best potential outcome. There's always going to be unknowns with change. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's change. That's the way it happens. There's going to be shit you don't know. I think it's just the way it is.
For sure.
Yeah, but weighing your changes, maybe that's my Virgo approach, but I think it's a pretty practical approach, is to just kind of write down the good and bad of choosing to change, or even not choosing to change.
Well, and I think there's a little exercise you can do. What happens when you're looking, you do a little exercise on whatever the change is that needs to happen. You know what it is. What happens if I do it? What happens? What happens if I don't do it? And what happens if I don't do it, will often be the one that lights the match and sets the fuel on fire that gets you going, because suddenly the not getting the result you want in your life is no longer acceptable. And you want that thing, you're going to have to do some work to get to it. So best get in the game. Another one of those aphorisms of, life, make sure you're living your life. You're creating the terms of your life. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you.
Right.
So how make that true? How do you make that true? And the only way I know how to make that true is you're totally, fully responsible and engaged in your life, and saying, okay, if I want to be happy, I'm responsible for that. What do I need to do to make that happen?
And I understand the anxiety around it. With Jupiter and Uranus there, you might be like, well, there could be some unpredicted surprises around those changes. Absolutely.
Can almost guarantee it.
But you could also have unpredicted benefits from change.
Hopefully,
and so I just want to say that it could be either one. It doesn't have to be good or bad. And frankly, with a sextile, with Jupiter sextiling, looks like it'll be sextiling it for a while, Mars, which is taking action, it feels like if you do take action, it's probably going to be in your benefit. And especially because Uranus rules Aquarius. So as Pluto starts to come into a sextile with Mars as well, it would be a gift, a positive thing. So I would, if there's some sort of change that you're considering, something that needs to change. I know I have like so many things that I'm like, okay, which one do I deal with first? Because I feel like a lot of things have to change, but they're like in different sections of my life. So if you have something like that going on, I would just try to tackle one at a time. That's how I feel overwhelmed with it right now. It's just that I have a lot of things that can change. I feel like all of them I could probably deal with, but not all at once. It feels like I can only deal with one at a time. So I'm actually thinking about like scheduling. This is my Virgo approach, is to say, okay, on Monday you deal with Let's Dance. On Tuesday, you deal with the garden. On Wednesday, you deal. Okay, and I feel like that might be the approach you have to take if you're experiencing something like I am, where it's not about, I'm not afraid of the change. I'm just not sure which change to do first. So I'm not sure which one has its priority, and it feels like they all need to get done. So whatever's going on for you, I'm just going to say change is the answer. I still feel very strongly about it, and it's not just because I'm a Scorpio rising and I love change. It's also because I think it's the answer. I think change is the answer. And you just have to accept that change, whatever it is. And you kind of know, I feel like you kind of know that, like somewhere inside.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to give a little room for if you're having a hard time, if it's feeling like I'm willing, but I don't know what to do action wise, that's understandable because Mars is in Pisces, and that's not a great position for Mars. Mars, the god of fire and war in a big ocean of water. It's just, so if you feel like you have a wet blanket on you, I don't know, what, if you have Mars in a strong, like Mars is a ruler in my chart. It's right on my ascendant, just like Uranus is right on Hollis's ascendant. When you have a planet right on the ascendant, the rising sign, if you have that planet within 7 to 10 degrees of your ascendant, it's very powerful. It's honored, in the words of Judith Hill.
Judith Hill actually says it's between 4 and 7 degrees.
Okay.
Or between 0 and 7. She says some people say 4, some people say 7. Any planets that you have there, especially if they're in the 12th house, so they're above the horizon rather than below the horizon, so not in the first house, in the 12th house, they are in honor.
That's interesting. So
it means that they'll be dominant in your chart.
They'll be powerful.
And it'll be like some of the most powerful planets in your chart, and you will almost constantly express it. So I have Uranus and the moon, which is, for me, is my non-binary. I love change. What do we change next? Let me consider your perspective of this. Oh, how does this affect you? That's all Libra moon. Libra moon in the 12th house is also the psychic intuition type stuff. Okay. So those are, and Bright Hawk, you have Mars there. So that's about action and temperament and things like that. So that's all in the 12th house. And so it's in its honor, which is interesting because often in the 12th house, it's considered self-sabotage. But in that position, because it's above the horizon, it's in its honor.
Interesting. I find this so fascinating. So a lot of times you'll hear astrologers talk about who rules the planet. Who rules the chart? What planet rules the chart? And often, especially in traditional astrology, the planetary ruler of your chart is who rules your sun sign. Okay? And in some charts, that is really clear. It presents, and you're like, there it is. And the sun is it's very clear. For other charts, you absolutely want to look at what's on the ascendant, and especially if there's a planet there in these aspects that we've talked about, between 4 and 7 degrees of your ascendant or your rising. And then, what we're also looking at is the sign that it's in. Is it exalted? Is it in detriment? Is it powerful? Is it weak? These are all different flavors. And that's part of what we look at as astrologers when we're saying, okay, while Hollis is a Virgo, which means Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, we'll look at Mercury's placement and what it has to say. And then we look at the ascendant and we go, wow, that Uranus moon, that's really strong. Really, really strong. Which one's stronger? And you look at it and you go, this one's stronger, very clearly. And we literally evaluate it in that way.
Yeah, so the Uranus and moon are actually stronger than Mercury in my chart.
Yeah, by a lot. And I've started to recognize, it's taken time for me to recognize that while I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a 29 Sagittarius. I'm like almost out the door. to Capricorn, right? Because I'm such a solstice baby. Um, my Jupiter is retrograde, so that makes it weak. And then you see the Mars on the ascendant, and you go and you look at me and you know, fire, fire. It's like I've always said, thank God my Mars is in Virgo. Thank God for Virgo in my rising sign, because I have a fire moon, Leo. I have a fire sun, Sag. Like, do not piss me off. Or really me not pissing me off. It doesn't even have to do with anybody else. And so learning how to control my temper, learning when to not, we're not three anymore. Throwing a tantrum is just inappropriate.
But you're also you're also able to take action that is nurturing. And so that dominates
And
the Jupiter Sag energy in her chart. So you want to look on what's your ascendant.
And
Go
I
ahead, LeKross. Go ahead.
that's
Yeah, like what if, okay, so you're saying like 29 degrees, okay, so it would fall for the same somebody who's in 0 degrees.
Yep.
So they would look at that 0 degree.
Do you see what your ascendant is? What numbers on your ascendant?
Well, my ascendant, for example, is well, I know it's Virgo
Is there any planets there?
on my ascendant.
Yeah, anywhere near there.
I'm 1 degree Mars in the 12th house on Virgo, but I'm born at 0 degree. Yeah, well, the ascendant is right in the middle. It's kind of hard to see what all 13, I think
What the
13.
degree is of the ascendant?
I don't know if
That
it's
arrow
13.
on the left-hand side there has a degree on there.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'll look.
Okay.
I think it's
So
13
whatever's on
degrees,
your
but I'm not sure.
So the ascendant is that little arrow on the left-hand
Yeah.
side of the chart. And what Brighthawk is saying is that normally because her sun is in Sag, she would be ruled by Jupiter. And even if we counted her as a Capricorn, since it's right on the edge,
Right.
because if it's at 29 degrees, some people kick it over to the next one and say, okay,
Right.
you're Capricorn. And so even if we looked at Capricorn, that would be Saturn. And but still she's still more Mars, and Mars is over there on the ascendant. And it's like just a couple of degrees away from that little arrow on the left-hand side. And so the little arrow on the left-hand side usually has a number next to it, or if you're on astro.com, there should be a graph and it should say AC, and it will say like a number next to it, or any programs will say AC and it will have a number. That's the degree of your ascendant. And then you want to look and see if there's any planets within 7 degrees of it.
Okay.
Especially in the 12th house.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through these charts and see. Yeah.
And again, the 12th house can be very spiritual, or it can be your undoing. And so, remember, there's in astrology, there's always the challenge and the opportunity. There's easy energy and the more challenging energy. I'm avoiding, as you can tell, language of good or bad or whatever. We just, it's, we don't need to go there. But everybody has challenges in life, and challenges help us grow. Everybody has blessings, hopefully, in life, and blessings make us appreciate the good things in life, hopefully. So, this is part of that. This is part of what astrology can help us with, is like when you're too stuck in one energy, it's like, okay, what's the opposite side of that? And you start to look at those qualities and you go, oh yeah, okay. Remember what we always say, take what you need and leave the rest.
Yep.
And it'll help you balance things out. And that's a really important piece. So it's a full moon. It's a Scorpio full moon. If I haven't said it already, Scorpio is ruled by Mars or Pluto. And so this T-square with Pluto is fascinating, because the sun and the moon are obviously having a conversation, and Pluto, being the ruler of Scorpio, is facilitating that conversation. How perfect. And what does Pluto like to talk about? So what are we changing? Transformation. How are we transforming?
It's also about power and control, but usually you become aware of the power control and then you want to change it.
Right, because sometimes we talk about Mars and Pluto, that Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. And that's another way to think about it is when I started to understand that Mars is such an active. When I started realizing that Pluto was the higher octave of Mars, it's like, oh, you don't think of Pluto as passive, it's active. So, again, there's energy to transform and hopefully in a good way. Scorpio is very spiritual. It's very, can be very secretive, play the cards close to the chest, can be a keeper of secrets, yours or others. And very, when I think of Scorpio, I often think of the High Priestess card in the Tarot deck. That sort of like priestess energy. I often think of that. So she might be asking you, how we changing? And
Scorpio is very
blessings
deep.
of the full moon, and
Scorpio is very deep.
Yeah.
So, if you have any Scorpio placements at all, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Scorpio is so deep that it can appear to be mysterious, and I think that's how it ends up getting that reputation of being mysterious. But really, it's just that Scorpio is super deep, and so sometimes I think Scorpios don't share things because they're so deep. So they're feeling things so deeply that they don't think anyone else will understand it. Okay?
And that's how it helps me understand that Scorpio is a water sign, because I had a hard time for the longest time. I could not remember what was the third water sign. Cancer, Pisces, obvious. Scorpio, like Scorpio's water? I don't get it. But when you think about it's deep, like
deep.
the ocean,
it
helps you remember that Scorpio's water. It's fixed water too. It's fixed like Taurus is fixed.
Well, it always confuses me because Scorpio is represented by the scorpion, and scorpions live in the desert. There's no water.
Right. There's no, like, how did we get there? I know.
Well, I don't know, but it's water.
So that's why I always, when you talk about deep, I'm always like, it's good to talk about Scorpio being deep, because then you remember it's a water sign, which is to say that they feel very deeply.
Yes.
Water signs feel, everything is about how we feel, right? Air sign is all about how we think. Gemini, right? They're thinkers, right? The earth signs are, let's be practical, let's ground it, let's manifest it. Fire signs were just off like spark. Right. And initiator, spark, fire, obviously. So those things also help you understand the signs really well.
Right. And I think in this week, as the moon moves through Scorpio on Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to have that. I think it's interesting that the Uranus Jupiter will come together. What are they?
22,
opposite the moon there.
The 24th is reflects. 22.
Yeah, so it just makes me think again, and it could be a gift to help you change easier, especially in earth signs, because it's going to be something physical. And I agree with Nadia Shaw that it's probably going to be about money or resources or something like that, even if it's the resources that come from your partner. Okay? Because Uranus and Jupiter together create surprises, but they're in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, which is over there in Aries, but it's still there, and it's and Taurus tends to be about luxuries, money, food, stuff, physical manifestations, something you can hold in your hand. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if something came up, especially with Scorpio in opposition of that. It could create an emotional reaction, or you might just be surprised. It could create some deep thoughts, feelings, ideas, those kinds of things is what I'm thinking. And with it, that Jupiter, Uranus
Big.
Yeah, it's just a
Big.
big energy. It will pretty much perfect on this day,
Big.
on the 24th, but they're kind of traveling together all month.
In a big way.
So, yeah, because Jupiter is very big.
Did I mention it's big?
And Uranus is surprising. So I think the two of them together. And Uranus is also out of the box, unusual. It can be spiritual. So can Jupiter. So having spiritual awakenings, does that count? Yes, it does.
For sure.
Especially deep spiritual awakenings. And just those kinds of wham type of experience, especially with Jupiter and Uranus. I just feel like it's going to be a big month, and just know that change is happening, but it's in your best interest, because Uranus is trying to get you on the right path always, even though it might come in and what did Christopher Renstrom said, it just wipes off the whole game board. Okay, even if it comes in, it's just because it wants you to play a different game. Okay, so it just wants you to master. So whatever, you might want to look at Taurus in your chart, and that will give you some idea of what might be changing for you.
What I really like about the Scorpio moon on Wednesday is that it's trining Saturn. Blessings are trines are blessings. Trines are easy energy. Saturn is about structure and constraint. And so the fact that the moon is trining Saturn, it makes me feel good. Makes me happy that whatever structural things need to happen, it can happen in a good way, is my hopes for you.
Yeah. And I think we're still talking things through in this Mercury retrograde. We're still working things out that have happened in the past. So I think that will be going on through the entire retrograde period. But it does start to go forward. I see it stations on Thursday. So it's just going to go back and review in its shadow period. Just because Mercury comes out of retrograde on April 25th, it is going to start moving forward, but it's going to review all of the things that you reviewed at the beginning of this retrograde, okay? So it's going to go back over all of those things and make sure you got it right, okay? So that's April 25th. It will start to go direct. We're on our way out of Mercury retrograde. Hopefully, I don't think it's been all that terribly hard for you, unless you make it hard now. Don't always assume that Mercury retrograde has to be hard. I constantly say that to people.
Right.
You can make it hard by thinking that, or you can just be like, okay, it's Mercury retrograde, so I might have to say it twice, or I might have to go over this again after Mercury goes direct, or whatever, okay? But Mercury is going to go direct, is going to, station to go direct on the 25th, so it might be a little bit harder to get energy moving on that day, even though, but it looks like emotionally it's going to be okay with the moon there, Bright Hawk.
Yeah, so the Scorpio moon will move on to trining Neptune Mars, and then it'll be in a sextile to Pluto. So again, really good energy, really nice blessings of those energies. Now the moon moves into an opposition with Uranus and Jupiter, and then it goes void from Scorpio. So 6:17 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday night, the void of course moons begins, and it ends at 8:37 p.m. and then the moon goes into Sagittarius.
So if you're going to take a break, Thursday's a good time, particularly Thursday night, I would say, because when Mercury stations, it can sometimes feel like if you're trying to get something done, it can feel like you're trying to drag a bunch of baggage.
Right. Like if you were trying to launch a boat, it would end up back on the beach, just
and then
like the tide's not yet right
yet.
Just
wait till tomorrow.
just wait.
Get it done tomorrow or in the next week or so. Wait a week if you can.
And if you're joining us for the first time and you don't know this term, void of course moon, it means when the moon is at the very end of a sign and it has no more Ptolemaic aspects, and it's getting ready to change into the next sign. So think about it. Scorpio is a fixed water sign going into Sagittarius, which is a mutable fire sign. You're going from water to fire. You want to take a minute, a couple hours maybe. 2 hours and 20 minutes maybe. And when the moon goes void, it's when the moon is quieter, when the energy drops. So it's a great time to take care of yourself. Self-care is a great thing. Meditation, yoga, doing something that it brings you into your quieter self. If you need to have a conversation or do something that you don't want a lot of energy on, like, filing your taxes, that happened last week, file during a void of course moon. There's just a lot of energy. Just, if you had to have a difficult conversation with somebody who you feel like gets too dramatic or too much, talk to them during a void of course moon. See if it goes differently, and then let me know. I'm dying to know. I've been learning about this aspect, and so I'm fascinated about how to, again, use astrology to live your best life. That's the point, right? So that's our goal. That's what we're trying to help impart and share with you. And so always want to make sure we share terms and not speak in jargon, because there's so much. Learning astrology is like learning another language, and there can be a lot of jargon, and we're really trying to keep it very user-friendly around here.
Yeah, we're trying to help you get through. So please ask questions. And here we still have Jupiter is sort of speeding up there. It's going to eventually leave Uranus behind. And right now the two of them are together. And this will remain for the rest of the week. And now Mercury has gone direct. So whatever has been going on for your Mercury retrograde is probably going to start. You're going to start going, okay, I think I know what has to change. These are the steps I have to take. I think this is the best choice. This is probably what I'm going to have to do. I think I figured it out. And now that Venus is just past Chiron, Venus is starting to move towards Taurus, where it will be at home. But it's going to finish out in Aries there right now. And I feel like when it starts to get into late degrees Aries, it's just going to finish up with whatever it had to do. Just like sort of the moon does. Like it just sort of finishes up with whatever it has to do. I think all planets do that in the end of the sign. They finish up with whatever they brought in this visit. So as this happens, as this unfolds for you this week, I think, towards the end of the week, you might want to slow down a little bit.
I was just thinking this looks like a good date night, right? When the moon is in Sagittarius, it answers to Jupiter, which is kind of opposite the side of the sky. And basically we say when the moon is in Sagittarius, it sparkles. Sagittarius likes to make sure everybody's having a good time, and is obviously a fire sign, and it can be very spiritual. We've had that conversation a lot this week about spiritual transformation and being willing to think about things in new and different ways. The nice thing is we have a trine to the North Node and Mercury, that little stellium. So it's going to go over, North Node, Mercury, Chiron, Venus, the Sun. That, lots of energy still going on in that stellium in Aries. Stellium, by the way, sorry not to use jargon, stellium is when we have 3 or more planets in one sign, and we've had that in Aries and Taurus. Taurus is just right now 3 signs, Jupiter, Uranus, and the Sun has just entered it. And then we have Venus, Chiron, Mercury in the North Node in Aries, and half all month, right? So a lot of energy in those 2 signs, if that hasn't been obvious. And now the moon moves into a position that squares Saturn. So now what are you going to do? Are you going to do something about this? Are you going to make the change? Are you going to take the action, make the decision? Saturn is a little bit about constraint, right? It's about structure and constraint. So, yeah, we're wanting to move in the right direction.
Okay. The moon is squaring Saturn. Yeah? Okay. Because I think the sun is in a square to Pluto. So that's very much about the change you take. Okay. So this is at the point where I say you'll be coming up with resolutions to the change that you plan
Yep.
in this week. So this will be the resolution. You may not be taking a lot of action with it, maybe some action. As Mercury starts to go direct, as it starts to move, you might start feeling like, okay, all right, I think I got this. Okay, and that's pretty much what's going to unfold for the weekend as we go forward, especially as some trines light up the sky, making those squares sort of fall behind, and hopefully you've figured out what the challenges are and started to overcome them as we start to move more into next week, when I think Taurus is really going to get lit up because a couple planets are going to move over there.
Yeah. So, and as Mercury goes direct, I just want to say, careful about your self-talk. You know, if you are feeling challenged or stuck, or I hear you, but I don't know what to do. Every time you say, I don't know what to do, your psyche hears you. So here's something you can say to yourself instead. I know what to do, and it will be revealed. I know what to do, and it will be revealed. What needs to happen next will be revealed. And something about that has helped me settle down in myself, stop feeling so like I got to jump, I got to do something, that my fire, I got to go. Only to realize that I don't know where I'm going, or I don't know what the target is, or I don't know how long the journey is, or
Sagittarius,
whatever.
ready, fire, aim. Yeah.
So I hope that helps you. Instead of saying to yourself, I don't know, say, I do know, and it will be revealed. Because you do, and it will.
Something is within you. Everything that you have to do is within you. You do have the power to it. You don't need anything from the outside to get these things, to do these things. You have the power within you. It's just a matter of recognizing it, discovering it, and maybe getting rid of some old programming, and discovering it within yourself. And, you know, as we get into the end of the week, things will slowly look like you're ready to take off, and things are starting to move forward. And as we move forward into next week, I think, you know, Venus is going to move over there next week. So, but in the meantime, she is in a trine. Venus is in a trine to the moon, Bright Hawk.
Yeah, the moon is trining the sun and Venus, and the moon will go void of course in the afternoon. So Sunday afternoon, take it easy, just have a nice time.
Enjoy yourself.
2:31 in the afternoon Mountain Time. The moon will go void of course until 4:37, and then it'll go into Capricorn.
Yeah.
And so when the moon is in Capricorn, it will be answering to Saturn.
And it will be trining the sun and Venus, so I feel like that's really going to help you emotionally and practically with Capricorn, help you feel practical about what you're doing, maybe with your money, and maybe what you need to do going forward, in particular to your resources, whatever those are. So, different resources. It's not always about money. Sometimes it's other resources that you're dealing with. Could be like support, or other resources that you work with, like food and, you know, a ride to work, or whatever your resources are. Okay. So, so those things will, I think, be coming into resolution, and you'll probably feel confident about them with the moon in Capricorn, I think, with a trine, since it's trining those two. All right. Well, I think like it's going to be a mixed week, and there'll be some, I think if you resist change, it will be hard for you. If you don't resist change, it will be easier. I think it's just that simple. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to be. So it will be easier if you just embrace and just say, okay, this is the way we're going. This is what's got to happen now. And just accept that you're on the next turn.
Yeah.
And trust yourself and trust the universe to lead you in the perfect direction. So, LeKross, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I found it like April 23rd, how that's like such a big day. And you were talking about, one thing at a time, doing one thing at a time. And hence we're going into Beaver. And beavers build their dam, but they don't have like a whole bunch of stuff they bring. They literally grab one item at a time and take it and build and build and build. And this is the time. And you know what? Somebody could come, knock over their whole dam, and they just look at it. They just go right back. Okay, let me get another stick and another stick. They're not really phased at the fact that their dam was broken. They just figure, okay, I think I better get more sticks. And I think that's going to be the best mentality to go into this with, is
Right.
instead of getting stressed out and, oh, what am I going to do? What should I do? It's just, okay, I think I better go get another stick and just continue building and continue building, because, and that takes a focused mindset, do that. And I think that's going to be key. That's going to help people get through this, is having that focused mindset, and do it that one stick at a time. So, and
Yeah.
that's,
As little beaver.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Because you just got to take when. Oh my gosh. What happened there?
It agreed.
Apparently Zoom agrees.
Yep.
Twice. More than
Twice.
once. That's funny. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Beaver. So yeah. I just think that it's fascinating, the way you were talking about the different animals and the different times of year, and the 23rd could be a rough day for change. But I guess beavers, and I would imagine that when the water's flowing, that beavers have to deal with change on a regular basis.
Yeah, because I mean, they're
Especially in spring.
literally building against that current to stop it. So
Right.
everything's still like, they're putting a stick down, but most likely the stick's getting washed away, but they're just persistent. And they're like, okay, there's water. We got to stop that from flowing
Taurus.
over.
It's like Taurus.
Yeah.
Just doesn't keeps doing it.
Yeah, you gotta keep going. We'll get it done. So.
Oh wow, yeah. So okay, interesting. It is kind of like Taurus. Yeah.
And to Taurus's credit, once they do decide they're going to make a change or do something, get the hell out of their way, because it's as good as done. Because you're gonna challenge a bull when a bull's like, oh, I'm on it. You just get out of the way, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that they're not capable. I don't want to diss any sign. Every sign has its variation.
Mhm.
And fixed signs, once they commit, boy, they're golden. And so is Hollis. We have a mystery little thumbs up thing happening in the
It's
Zoom
actually
window.
some sort of like AI thing with Zoom, but I can't. Oh, there it goes. I
Yeah.
can't always get it to work properly, and so I haven't been able to.
So-
whatever. Anyway.
Hollis is a medium,
Yeah,
so
there
we
it goes.
to a guy
Sometimes I
saying,
think
yeah.
you can't help but think that it's a little possessed, because it
Yeah.
doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to be
Yeah.
able to go thumbs up or I agree,
That's
and
not
then
what it
it's
does.
but it no, it doesn't
Just
work that
randomly
way.
says, good job. Yeah, that's true.
It's weird. Oh my gosh, see, it didn't
What do
do
the
it.
cards have to say?
Yeah, it's not consistent like Taurus at all. A little disappointing. Okay, so I'm going to pull 3 cards for us today. And this is for this week. And so this week, Spirit, and I believe that Spirit makes the cards fall in what you need to hear. Okay, so so this first card here, this is actually the Page of Pentacles, which is an interesting card, because the Page of Pentacles, first of all, is about resources. Oh my God, with thumbs up again. I like this card too. I love this card. maybe, see, I think I like this card the most because, wow, it's just going crazy. I love this card the most, I think, not just because the person is a chunky monkey, um, because I'm tired of looking at pictures where everybody is, yeah, skinny. And as if that's the expected way. And we all know that we don't all look that way, right? Like, there are bigger people in the world, and it is a perfectly natural thing. It's been this way for centuries, frankly. So some people are bigger. I'm not saying that there's not a weight problem in the world. There is. But there's also some people that are just naturally larger. And so I appreciate this card for that because, you know, in history, we used to see a larger body as having a really good life, as having all the things that they needed, having all their needs met. And that's really what the Page of Pentacles is about. It's about having all your needs met, having all the things you need, and having the resources that you need to do what you want. And that's the Page of Pentacles. It's about having all your needs met. So this is a reminder of that moment recently that you had all your needs met, that, you know, you had all your bills paid, that you had everything that you needed, and you didn't need anything else. And that's a really good feeling, really. You know, I grew up really poor, and I've grown up really financially struggling. And I feel like when you do get to the moment where you're like, you know what, I have everything I need. I do, I really do. And when that happens, when you feel that, it can feel really comforting. And that's what this is a reminder of. Okay? This is a reminder of that feeling, that comforted feeling of having all of your needs met. Okay? And in the current here and now, sorry, I was like, is there more thumbs up for that? I don't know. Okay, so here we are. This is the here and now. This is what we're dealing with this week mostly. So a reminder of all your needs being met, maybe during the solar eclipse time. And this week, this is about self-reflection. This is the Nine of Swords, but it's very much about self-reflection. It's very much about kind of like a hermit energy where maybe you take a walk in the woods and take some time to think and clear your mind and recognize who you are and your connection to nature. This is also about our connection to nature and to each other because we're all natural. All of us are human beings, or at least part alien, and you know, aliens are natural too. So, Hollis is like the ultimate inclusion person. So Nine of Swords, it really is about your connection to nature, okay, in the planet Earth, and it is Earth Week. So, you know, take time to recognize your connection, maybe some reflection of how you can serve the earth in a better way. Maybe you can do better at recycling, or maybe you can plant a tree or something great for the earth. Maybe buy better sourced food from better resources. Whatever it is, this is your time of reflection, especially your reflection to your connection, reflection on your connection to the earth and to each other, to other people. And in the future, this coming week, I love this card. It's like one of my favorite cards as well. So I'm gonna have a good week because I got like two of my favorite cards. And so this is also one of my favorite cards. I love this. This is the World card. This is again going back to that feeling of having all your needs met, but this is also, and a little bit more. This is really celebratory energy. This is really feeling grateful. This is the World card. Some people would also say that having the world at your hands. I think this is a beautiful person in this image, beautiful person of color, and they have their hand on their heart, and they have like this sort of snake-looking thing behind them, which is very much about transformation and change and shedding our old skin. Plus they have this like purple thing wrapped around them. They're clearly nude underneath of it, but it recognizes the shedding of the skin, of letting go of old stuff. And if you notice, all 4 elements are here in the corners, with earth in the corner as a diamond, fire, air is like the flower, and water is the fish. All 4 elements being there to bless this person with their flag, and they feel like they can wave their flag, but not just wave their flag in pride and in celebration, but also like fall to their knees in gratitude and in a vulnerable state, but a good vulnerable state, a vulnerable state where you're like, I have a new skin. It's like spring, very much like spring. And this is the world card, having the world in your hands. And that's really what this card is about. So remember, Spirit is reminding us about the Page of Pentacles, which is very much having the resources, having all your needs met, okay, and maybe having a little bit more, but mostly it's having all of your needs met, and also recognizing the world comes in all shapes and sizes. I'm just going to say that because not everybody is one size, and it's a recognizing that also resources come in all shapes and sizes, right? Okay, and as we go forward, and this week, take some time to reflect on your connection to nature, especially since it's Earth Day. I think it should be a spiritual holiday, because Mother Earth is spiritual to me. So I think it's a time to reflect on our connection to Earth. What can we do for the Earth? What can we do a little bit better for the Earth? You know, maybe you just need to wash out your recycling more often or something. Whatever it is, take some time to reflect. Take some time to reflect also on your connection to others. Our harmony with each other will also have a lot to do with our harmony with nature. It's very much, those two things are very connected, okay? Because everybody you interact with is all natural. They're a human being. And that's very important, okay? So this week, spend some time in self-reflection, especially in nature. It will be very important. And as we go forward, look forward to this moment. Look forward to the world. Look forward to the elements supporting you, to shedding those old skin and getting to a point where you're like, oh, that just feels so good. I'm in a fresh skin. I'm in a fresh body. Like, imagine what a snake feels like after they shed their skin, and because they're usually pretty uncomfortable while they're shedding, by the way, in case you didn't know that. And by the time they get to the new skin, you can see them, you can sense their energy. They're like, oh yeah, it feels good, right? And that's pretty much how this person in this image is reflected. Oh, it feels so good. You can see them like really being grateful for it with their hand on their heart and receiving that well-balanced received gift. And as I said, Uranus and Jupiter are going to be a gift if you're willing to change. So, be ready for that gift, you know, just be ready to be grateful for it. And that's kind of
a great reading. Wow.
It's fun. Yeah.
Really fun.
Two of my favorite cards, really, seriously.
Seriously. That was great.
I love that deck. I'm just saying, that Pride deck, if you're interested in it, you should get it. It's on Amazon. The best part about it is there's all kinds of people in that deck. There are skinny people and big people. There are people of color. There are people, white people. There are all sorts of genders and all sorts of situations, and you're just like, there's just a little bit of everything in this deck, which is very rare. Very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we hope you have a great week, and let us know. Thanks for your likes and shares and comments. I really want to know how it's going for you, and
yeah, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And you know, share it.
Yeah.
Many thanks.
Well, thanks for watching Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.